Hey everyone, week 6. Oh great, I just shook the table, now the camera's bouncing around. What's going on, guys? This is Doug, week 6, documenting MIpet, the business, things we're learning, running into, and just sharing with what's going on. So, it's been an interesting week. I think the theme of probably the end game here of what I think I'm going to talk about today is probably patience, which I may have touched on before, but it just seems to be more and more important. So this past week, really focused on getting some display retail type stuff together, meeting with some other retail locations, really trying to be well-rounded. So we have our website. Obviously, it's always up and running. But, you know, retail is still important because it does get people to see your product in person and passively. So a lot of times web traffic is direct, you know, like you're intentionally going to to our website, you see it, you go there. Where at retail, you might be there to buy dog food, you might be there to buy a pet, like a toy or something like that. You check out and then there's our display on the counter. You are interested and you pick it up, look at it, next thing you know, you're a customer. So for us, getting eyes on our product is sort of our focus. And with that, obviously, there's only so many hours in a day. And unlike I said the first week or two where we really focused on getting sort of traffic to the website, when you're doing anything for the first time, it's a little bit of kind of divide and conquer. So being one person, I can only do so much. But at the same time, I think last week I said something about it's adding new pieces to the pie. And so inherently everything gets a little bit diminished. So, trying to engage on Instagram is something that is constantly on my mind. However, when I'm, working at my normal sort of day job and I'm also focusing on meeting people with the retail stuff, also figuring out ways to execute that, you find yourself being spread too thin, and inherently you kind of start to feel like you're dropping the ball or you're slacking or whatever you want to call it. And the way that I kind of look at that as it's going on in retrospect is that I'm always doing something for the business, and that is the prime sort of focus. That's the attention. That's where my brain and energy. I've got Chief in the background with a squeaky toy, so if you hear that, it's not me. Chief, buddy. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to take care of, I have this 100-pound golden retriever, and he has these squeaky toys, and he loves them so much. And he, almost communicates with, the squeaky noise, and there was 2 of them down here in the basement, and he was just going nuts. So I had to kind of get him upstairs. So back to it. What I was saying earlier was kind of speaking towards just doing something to I guess, in a way, thinking about 0 to 100 and worrying about 100 when you're at 2 really isn't going to add a lot of value to anything you're doing in the moment because it's unimportant. It's kind of like running a marathon and being in mile 3, or it's like, my wife is pregnant. It's like being in the second month of a 9-month, process. There's a lot you have to sort of ignore about the end game and just dealing with what is in front of you in that moment. And it's hard to do. It's not, I don't think human nature instinctually does that. But it's kind of the most important thing I'm learning. The more I can just be in the moment, the more I can just focus on the task I have in front of me. It's probably the thing that's been the most helpful. I've made a list that I constantly update, that I constantly just check and just sort of go down the list. It's like one thing gets taken off the list and another thing gets added to it. I'm just doing one thing at a time, and I know that over the course of time, all these little things will turn into a big thing. And so, working on the website was huge, and it took forever, and it was a process, and then I got there, and now the website's up, and in a weird way, it feels like kind of a thing that's always existed. Oh, that website that I have. Yeah, I've done that. It's been up there for, months, it feels like. And the truth is that took a long time to get to. And it's kind of that feeling of selling something on the internet felt kind of like a secondary function to just getting the design to look like it was supposed to. And then once we got the design to look like the way it was supposed to, then it was executing the actual, product. And then getting the product right was huge until it wasn't anymore, because you kind of got there. And then the next thing was, okay, now we're going to be live and let's make sure everything works correctly. And, right now we're just in that mindset of, we're a company, we exist, you can buy our product, but we need eyeballs on it. And, it's a lot of knocking on doors and kissing babies and shaking hands. And it's not glamorous. It's completely not sexy. It's actually very, it's time consuming. It's a lot of work. And, on that note, since, if you're watching this, you're probably watching for reasons that I would argue this might be a relevant topic that I'm about to say, but something that I would look up is a YouTuber. I don't even want to call him a YouTuber. He's a business guy. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk. And he speaks a lot of truth. A lot of things he says I really kind of gravitate towards. And one of the things he kind of says on a regular basis is you have to love what you do, because when it's time to really kind of, eat, as they say, eat shit, you're going to do it kind of with a smile on your face. And if you don't, and you don't love what you do, someone else does love the thing you do, and he's going, or she is going to just destroy you in that, ecosystem, that universe. And it's just important to I'm passionate about what this company is and what it's going to do. And if I didn't have that passion, or if I just looked at it like a hobby or something else, it's really easy to not grind and do the work that is necessary to kind of make it successful. So, obviously you got to love it. You have to be patient, and you just kind of have to put your head down and do the work. So a lot of this kind of week is just about reminding myself these things, executing them, keeping it simple, being persistent, knowing that it's a marathon, not a sprint, understanding that all that stuff is going to, end with the result I'm hoping and looking for. And that's kind of it. So it kind of feels similar to last week, but to be true with you guys, every week I'm just going to go into just kind of like this is where the week kind of started, this is where we kind of ended up, these are the things I learned, and just kind of spew it onto this video. So maybe one week something crazy happens and it's a totally different dynamic. Maybe it's 5 weeks of the same kind of video. I don't know yet. That's the point of these videos, is to look back in time. I always thought about this. I'm not comparing myself to these people, but could you imagine Steve Jobs seeing a guy do a daily or a weekly or a monthly type journal or video just explaining what he's gone through just to get to the point that he got to? That'd be fascinating stuff. And maybe in the moment, like I said, I do this video with intention that really no one's going to care, and there's not going to be a ton of viewers. Every week I get a couple more people checking these videos out, and over the course of time, maybe it's a year, 2 years, whatever, maybe there's enough people that can get something out of this. And then also in the future, when I hope that this thing is successful, to where I know it can get to, and I can look back and say, wow, there's the process right there in video form, documented, ta-da, there we go. So I will see you guys next week. Hopefully there's something new and interesting to talk about. And until then, just, keep doing what you're doing, and good luck to you. I'll talk to you guys later. See you later. Bye.